We'll start with this. America's immigration parole program that is designed to grant temporary entry into the United States for certain individuals, not groups, in sensitive cases where there are extenuating circumstances. Republicans in the House and the Senate, they call it a loophole. They say the Biden administration has been abusing that program for years.
The program has led to the mass release of hundreds of thousands of undocumented migrants into the country, oftentimes with no way to track them or make sure they complete the legal immigration process. Today, one senator is walking across the Capitol building to join forces with a colleague in the House. They have a new plan to close that loophole. They're going to announce it live, exclusively, here on National Report.
We have Senator J.D. Vance from Ohio making his first ever appearance. Andy Biggs there as on Newsmax as a senator. And Congressman Andy Biggs of Arizona, chairman of the House Border Security Caucus, member of the House Oversight Reform Committee. Gentlemen, thanks so much for coming on. Undoubtedly here, the immigration program, the crisis at the border still remaining a crisis. You've seen the mayor of New York City even call it a national crisis. It continues to grow. I know you both are joining 24 other members of Congress and sending a letter to the Biden administration. What does that letter say? Senator J.D. Vance, I'll start with you.
Well, the basic thing we're saying, and first of all, proud to partner with Congressman Biggs here on this, is they don't have the legal authority, and they need to explain where they think they get the legal authority to effectively preemptively grant 30,000 new amnesty cases per month from a select number of countries. That's 360,000 cases a year on top of what we've already seen over the past couple of years, the Biden border crisis. So this is the sort of power that's meant to be used on a case-by-case basis. The Biden administration is blowing it up to grant mass amnesty. We'd like to know where they think they get the authority from, and that's an important part of stopping this for good.
The numbers of migrants making their way to the U.S. southern border is record-setting. It's overwhelming for Border Patrol officials. Congressman Biggs, if you had to point to a single individual who should be responsible for overseeing the immigration parole program, who would that be?
Well, it's going to be Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, and that's who Senator Vance and I have written our letter to, because Secretary Mayorkas is the guy that's implemented every policy that's opened up the border and has been inviting. And so when we start talking about over 300,000 people getting parole status last year alone, and that's what they will admit to. There's probably more. And when you consider what it normally was, it was maybe a dozen, maybe 20 people a year under previous administrations, both Republican and Democrat. They're using this as a tool to establish and facilitate their catch and release program. And that's why Senator Vance and I and all of our colleagues that have joined us, we're just pushing so hard against this, because these people, we won't know where they're going. We don't know, again, what their intentions are, but they're coming from 4 countries, for Pete's sakes, only 4 countries. And that is exactly the opposite of what this law was intended to be.
And it appears that this administration has started or began to really acknowledge this as a major crisis as of this year. And I pointed out Eric Adams. He is a prominent Democrat calling it a national crisis. He feels it in his own city, the largest city in the country. So the administration rolls out this new expansion of the immigration parole program. This is for Haitians and Cubans and migrants from other countries, as the congressman was talking about. I wanted to show this from Homeland Security. They put out the statement that said, quote, at least a piece of it saying, modeled on the successful processes for Venezuelans and Ukrainians, which combine safe, orderly, and lawful pathways to the United States, including authorization to work with significant consequences for those who failed to use those pathways. Bottom line, you guys, Senator, you know about this new plan put out by this administration, by DHS. Do you agree with it? Is this the right pathway forward to curb what's happening at the border?
No, it's certainly not the right way to curb what's going on at the border. In fact, it's just going to make it worse. If you talk to the migrants who are illegally crossing into our country, the rare instances when the corporate media sticks a microphone in their face, they will tell you they are coming to this country illegally because Joe Biden has issued an open invitation. That's been clear in Central America for the last couple of years. Millions of people have come into this country illegally because of it. What this new action does is basically say, on top of what we've already seen Here's another 360,000 people that we're going to grant preemptive amnesty to. It's going to cause even more of that rush to the southern border. Now, here's the big problem with this. Here in Ohio, we have a terrible drug overdose problem caused by fentanyl that's pouring into this country via the Mexican drug cartels. We are simultaneously killing our own people by allowing this border to be wide open. Joe Biden is making it worse. And we're also sending hundreds of millions of dollars to the drug cartels, which is destabilizing our most important neighbor, Mexico, to the south. This is bad foreign policy. It's bad drug policy. It's bad immigration policy, and it needs to stop.
House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries was on the Sunday shows last week. This is President Biden visited El Paso. Here's what he had to say. Do you have that sound?
I do think that the Biden administration is trying to tackle a tough issue. We're not going to try to weaponize the issue for political gain, as some of my colleagues on the Republican side of the aisle clearly would like to do.
Congressman, does that sound political to you?
Yeah. Mr. Jeffries is always going to say he's not being political when he's projecting political bias there. And the reality is, you could take different sectors under the 2020 fiscal year where you might have fewer than 9,000 total encounters, and that same sector will have over 350,000 encounters last year alone. The border is a crisis because of politically motivated policies enacted by Secretary Mayorkas and the Biden administration. That's why when you look at this new program where they say, okay, if you're from Venezuela, Cuba, Nicaragua, or Haiti, we're going to let you in, and we're not going to vet you, and it's a de facto amnesty, just as Senator Vance said. So these people are going to come in. They're going to be given effectively the rights to live as an American citizen, with the exception of voting, except for in L.A. and some other crazy places. But that's what's happening, and it will be a draw factor for even more. And it'll facilitate the cartels who actually actively market to get people to come into our country illegally.
We'll continue to follow that. Congressman Andy Biggs joining us, as well as Senator J.D. Vance. Gentlemen, thank you for that. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hey guys, it's Rob Carson. Your retirement funds are being threatened with even more losses from record inflation, recession, and skyrocketing interest rates. Fortunately, the highly trained specialists at American Hartford Gold can show you how to protect your savings and retirement accounts by diversifying your portfolio with physical gold and silver. If you call them right now as a special offer, they will give you a free gold coin on your first qualifying order, so don't wait. Call 866-935-4309. That's 866-935-4309, or text Newsmax to 65532. That's Newsmax to 65532.